Welcome back to the Titanium Hangar. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for November 6, 2022. Of course, we've got Transformers news for Masterpiece, Legends, and Mainline. We also have more news about some He-Man and Origins. This is sort of a Sunman release. I got a few things to say about it. This is a leaked image, but I'm pretty sure it's true. A couple things to talk about. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, sort of. And Ramen Toys making some backgrounds. And of course, we've got some more stuff coming from SUPER7. And I guess more Turtle news that's actually in the Upside Down. So we got some Playmate stuff going on. And of course, we got some Star Wars stuff. Oddly enough, I guess I missed a few things last week that we're going to go over this week. But talk about this. And a huge vintage haul and more coming up. Alright, starting out, what's new at Show Z? Right now there's the Planet X PX08 and Asclepius Perceptor metallic red version. So this is a Perceptor if you're not happy with Tesla 2.0 or the X Transbots version and you want one. This one's a little bit smaller too, $65. Pre-order with $1 down, and it should be delivering sometime, I think, later this year? Late November of 2022. Also, coming into stock right now is Dracula, their take on Mindwipe, and this is the Fans Toys version, $160 reissue, so you can order it right now, and should be shipping very soon. Also, they've got it for pre-order, the Transform Element Clear version of Mirage. He's about $50, and he does look pretty cool. The clear version, I think, is a pretty good mold overall, and I do want to say that I pre-ordered this, but then I did watch a review from Team Reviews, and he's trying to say that he got an email that these are getting canceled, or they might not get made. You might want to cancel your order. So I don't know. I pre-ordered mine. We'll see if it comes in. You know, it's $1 down. Wasn't a big deal. This is TM Reviews right here. I actually did a comparison of Fans Toys versus the Transform Element. And so with that, of course, there's a lot of questions. Is Transform Element, these reissues they're putting out, are they actually going to come in? Are they going to show up? And all that kind of stuff. But I do think that clear one will get made. That's just my gut feeling for whatever reason. But he did a nice, good comparison between these two, so you want to go check his channel out and watch his comparison. Did a pretty good job, step by step. But looking at these, I'm going to save my opinion for later. But you can tell the big difference between these is the chest. The narrow of the chest on the Fans Toys, and then the colorations of the feet and the knees. Those are the really big aesthetic differences in this, and the size. Sticking with some Fans Toys news, there are reports that there's QC issues with the KO version of Soundwave. Now, I'm going to tell you this, the Acoustic Wave or the Robot Paradise, I've got mine pre-ordered. It's not going to sway me from getting mine, buying mine, opening mine. And when I have it in hand, I'll show you side by side because I have confidence in it. And looking at the problems that I see with these, I can fix them. So I can touch up that paint on those joints. It's not really that big of a deal to me. But at the end of the day, I will be getting this in. I will be reviewing this as soon as I get it from TF Direct. Shows he won't carry it because Fans Toys says whoever carries this won't get to carry official. But that threat seems to mean nothing, right? This week we got news from Vectron Labs, and they came out saying that 12/22/2022, so December 22nd, they're going to have a full-on prototype that you can see of their first figure. So that's interesting. That's good. And so here's what I've been saying all along, and Show Z has it up for pre-order for $1, or they did. I don't know if they took it down or not, but they had it. You can pre-order for $1, and if something happens and this never gets made or it doesn't show up, you don't have to pay for it. You get your dollar refunded as a credit. It's credit towards your next purchase. Now, that's how that would work if you do that. So that's how I suggest to do it. I'm really not in on this set. I think I'm going to go with the X Transbots. But the other problem that people are concerned about is even if the first one gets made, will the other 5 get made? And so with that, I do think the other ones will get made. If they get the first one out, then they'll have the momentum to finish the rest of it. And it'll be a pretty exciting set. I hope it works out. There's still a lot of skepticism in the community. So we're starting to see 3.0 putting out more pictures of their 11.2-inch tall deluxe version of Megatron, which this is the only other picture. I thought by this point we'd get like 50 pictures, but we've only got a few pictures. So we got this one, and then we got pictures of the Rodimus next to the Optimus and all that kind of stuff. So does look pretty good. Looks like it matches the movie very well. And of course, Doesn't transform, highly articulated, and high dollar price point. Also, here is the Rodimus, and this Rodimus looks good. This actually does look very stylized. I mean, they do kind of go with a stylized look like this, but the DX9 Masterpiece one, this was kind of what that looks like, so very similar to that one. Anyway, I don't know, was that DX9? I don't have it, so I just don't really remember. But anyway, this has a stylized look to it, and it looks pretty good. It looks pretty solid. I like all the colors to it, and it's got a ton of articulation and a lot of detail that you just really don't get in usual releases of this Rodimus. But at the end of the day, if this is for you, then you might want to get on out here. They sell it pretty quick. And the Rodimus is MDLX, meaning it's smaller. It's not the big one. It's a little bit smaller. Speaking of expensive and big, we're seeing that RoboSend is putting out a gold Optimus Prime for a grand prize. You get some sort of a drawing. So the grand prize is Peter Cullen autographed flagship Optimus Prime, and then the first prize is you're going to get these gold painted smaller Optimus Prime. So this is the smaller one. You can either buy one of the elite auto converting Optimus Primes and then you upload your receipt, or you can just download the form and send it in. So either way, no purchase necessary to win this. My luck on winning this is absolutely zero. It's probably negative. I probably end up having to pay something. So I'm not even going to bother, but I think it does look pretty cool, and I do like kind of the gold repaints of Prime. It's just one of those weird things. It looks pretty cool to me, but some people just don't care. It's not something for them, which is why I don't think they're going to do a full production run of this. This is kind of a cool giveaway. Kind of harkens back to the Lucky Draw. So there's a 3-pack of 4th-party oversized Studio Series Sharkticons, so oversized to about 6.2 inches, 5.9, should be tall enough to pull off in a Masterpiece display. I think that the Studio Series ones are pretty cool, but here's a 3-pack for $35. That's like $12 a piece, a little less than $12 a piece. That is a really good price considering they're bigger than the Studio Series, and they look really good. So if you're interested in this, of course, this one is up at Show Z, might be at other places too. Does look really cool, and I left it in the Masterpiece section because you might be able to pull it off as a Masterpiece. And then again, for this price, this is the price you'd want for something you want to troop build and get like 10, or I guess 9 of these or something. Get 3 sets, that'd be pretty cool. So there's a new company coming in called MK Toys, and what I've heard is there's never really new companies. It's the same people just calling themselves something different for the release. And this is a super tuned version of what was made by New Age. This is a copy, a KO, a knockoff of New Age, and it is made to look more cartoony. So maybe there's more accessories with it and all that kind of stuff. Mine didn't come with all these accessories, so because I've got the toy version. So looking at the inside of the leg, they figured out how to fix the inside of the leg, which still hasn't been done by New Age that I know. I don't have an inside fix on my leg, so I don't really know about all that stuff. So with this, it looks pretty good. Some of the stuff they did looks really good. And then they're showing how you can have like a more cartoon look in the Dino mode versus the other one. So it does look pretty good. And then they're showing like shoulder. How is it more cartoonish shoulder? So options are good here. I don't know a whole lot about it, like price, availability, and all that kind of stuff. And of course, it isn't translated. It's still a little bit confusing what's going on with this one. But I'm assuming it's going to be really cheap, and I'm assuming that there's going to be some points on it that just make it look more like the cartoon, which would be pretty cool overall. But I'm really happy with the one I got. That's the toy version. But if this is cheap enough, I might pick it up too. Okay, so Magic Square is reissuing their MS-B01A Architect Inferno and B02AF Fire Extinguisher in metallic colors. And so if you missed it the first go around and you want to pick them up and you want them in metallic colors, then really good. That is awesome. You're going to be able to get it. And so it's good that they're doing it. Magic Square is here for the consumer. They're here for the customer. The reason they want to make sure you can get what you want, or they want to try to block New Age. It's always funny when they do this, right? And so New Age is putting up pre-orders for their version. And what do they call their version of? They call it the Atlas Grapple, the H47. So it's always funny how they go back and forth. This one looks pretty good overall. Not a whole lot of pictures of this guy, just this, and then there's a picture of the alt mode. And overall, they both look pretty good. The alt mode looks good. The The bot mode looks good, and I don't think you can go wrong with either one. The New Age one or the Magic Square one. This is going to be 3.86 inches tall, so it's a little short for the character, in my opinion, for the Legends scale. But then again, New Age does run a little on the small side, or they used to. These days, they've been making bigger figures, but at the end of the day, either option's good. Speaking of New Age, they're coming out with another recolor of their Jetfire, Skyfire. It is the H45 EXR Firefox Jetfire Chameleon version, and this almost mirrors the paint that Fans Toys Phoenix X has, with the metallic looking reds all over, and then sort of a pearlescent look to the white. It's not bright white, it's pearlescent white. So if you like that look, then I went and pre-ordered this one. I missed out on the first one. Well, the first one just got expensive, so I'm going to go ahead and go with this one then. And I still am looking forward to the Magic Square version. And I'm going to get both in hand and decide which one I like more. But man, this thing is looking really good. And in all the collection photos that I just got that had this figure in it, made me really want to pick this guy up. So I'm pulling the trigger on him. Well, technically, this is a recolor of the one that's already in people's collections. Okay, so we are getting in-hand pictures of the Hasbro Shattered Glass Soundwave, and this figures a redeco in white and blue of the Netflix mold, so this disturbs people for a couple of reasons. That you can get this put out as kind of a BotCon kind of deal, exclusive kind of thing, or whatever. You can have an exclusive Shattered Glass, right? And you can use Walmart's exclusive for it. But then they had to go put a Siege one back out at retail. So using the Siege mold at retail and not putting the Netflix mold back at retail, so that confuses people and irritates people that you can jump through a hoop to get an exclusive to get this mold. This mold is highly sought after by people, and I think it's commanding like $150 now. So I mean, it almost tempts me to want to sell mine. The price that it's at, I'm like, because I know years down the road or whatever, we're going to see that mold again, but it's going to be a while because Walmart has some sort of license agreement. But anyway, it does look pretty good, and in the alt mode, and I think one of the bigger reasons is it turns into the correct alt mode that we would like to see. The cassettes go in there and all that kind of stuff, so it works out pretty good. I don't think it has a lamppost mode, so don't worry about it. No lamppost mode. But I think it does look pretty good if you've been keeping up with these. I haven't got any of the Shattered Glass ones, and a couple of them look pretty cool. I feel like I missed out on. The HasLab Victory Saber should be shipping this year, so by the end of the year, that is what they're saying. So if you had backed that project, then it's coming in. It looks like it's coming along very nicely. It looks really good, well painted, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that does look good. And so what this leads into is, if you were one that bought that, you're probably in on a Deathsaurus. So Deathsaurus has been up for pre-order for a little over a week now, or backing, whatever you want to call it. Halfway there, it's like 6,000, almost at 6,000 right now. It's probably over 6,000 by the time you watch this, of 11,000. And so with that, I'm 100% sure it's going to back. The thing about it is that pretty much everybody getting the Star Saber is probably going to want this to go along with their Star Saber. They kept the price sort of reasonable, which is $180, and that's because they upped the backer count so they can offset those costs. I mean, everything's still more expensive. They kept the price the same, and so that's how they worked this out. If only the Marvel team could have understood that, changed the price, fixed the price, then they would have funded theirs. So this will fund anyway. Does look pretty good overall. They are opening it up to a couple of other places. Korea official naval store is getting it. Takara Tomy Mall has got it for backing. So a lot of this is really going to help the crowdfund hit their numbers. We got more pictures of the Holiday Armadillo. No, the Holiday Optimus Prime. Yeah, so it looks pretty cool overall. It's a interesting looking Optimus Prime repaint. I mean, they've been doing this with Star Wars for a while, so why not throw some Transformers at it? And they did. And, you know, it's one of those things that I wouldn't have bought this mold. Well, I'm not in on this, but I wouldn't have bought this mold anyway. But now it looks kind of cool, and I'm almost tempted, even though I'm not interested in this version of Optimus Prime. I do like the way it looks and the holiday scheme and all that kind of stuff. But I'm really trying to scale back a few things for sure. But this thing does look pretty cool. And here's another look at the alt mode, and so does look good overall. Like this looks like something that would be delivering. Maybe this truck could be delivering some holiday gifts or something along those lines. Maybe that'd be your holiday gift truck delivery under the tree. So on the surface, this story of someone finding a Tigatron at Marshall's doesn't sound like a big deal, but I've been reporting that I've bought pretty much all. I think about all my vintage or retro, whatever you want to call the series of Beast Wars on clearance. Says, you know, the most I spent, I think it was like 17 on one of these, but usually around 13, which is what this is selling for. And that kind of tells me that that whole retro thing is in trouble overall. It just doesn't command the sales that they want, especially when they're making a retro and a much better modern version at the exact same time. So with all of that, these aren't selling that well. They're showing up at Marshall's. But I have a belief that the entire toy industry is going to be pushing a lot of these off to Marshall. If you know what Marshall's is, it is the lower price point version of TJ Maxx. So it falls right in with Ross and Ollie's and all of those. And so with that, the good old days of collecting, I would go into those discounters and there would be a lot of Transformers. And they'd be a pretty good price. Usually half what the original price was, or even a third. So I kind of look forward to those days. And so with that, you might want to start checking these discounters again pretty soon. Also, what's showing up around is this new take on Rumble, and I think he does look pretty good overall, and a little bit taller, just a little bit taller than the previous version. And the new Studio Series Ironhide is hitting in Canada and the US. I don't know what he's packed with. I don't know what's going along with this guy, so I missed that point somewhere along the lines, but still, here's something that stands out. Look how small he looks in that box. Previously, he was a deluxe figure for $19.99, which deluxe is now $23. But now he's like $33. So he doesn't even fill up the box. And he's a pretty good sized character in the lore, but he doesn't really fill the box up. So it doesn't really look like you're getting the value for your money. The value's in the engineering, right? So last week we saw we're getting a reissue of Jetfire, Skyfire. Now we're getting a reissue of Skylynx. And so with that, if you pass on it the previous go-around, then you can get it this go-around. So that'd be pretty cool. And I don't see it up for actual pre-order just yet. Just the news broke that he's going to get reissued. So if you missed him, pretty good figure. So you can pick him up this go-around. And oddly enough, all these previous iterations, none of them had windows either. They had just the sealed box. And so that was like the early sealed box. No plastic figures. So we got Wave 2 stock photos of this Earthspark. I don't think my viewers really care for me to like spend 10 minutes breaking down all the pictures of each one of these. I think this picture too much tells you everything you need to know what's going on with it. So it's kind of why I went that route with just showing that one picture. So for the most part, this line, I like it because it's there to get kids interested and kids excited about it, and hopefully it maintains the low enough price point that kids can get into it and get the main characters. And that's what it's all about with this toy line. The Rise of the Beast movie, they have put out their IMAX release for June 9th. So they've been pushing this movie back over and over and over. So June 9th, 2023, it should be out. So pretty awesome, pretty exciting. And I hope it's good. I hope they took all this extra time, they're pushing it back to make it a great movie. Segueing out of Transformers, they're making a Transformer segue. And so with that, get ready for Ultimate Power. I don't know what it's going to look like and all that kind of stuff. So it's just interesting. It's one of those things that I bet Segway sales are just way down. So let's partner with something very popular like Transformers and get it back on track. So that's a pretty cool idea. And this cross-platform, cross-marketing usually works, or it helps. So we'll see. Yeah, and no good pictures. It's just a teaser for now. Okay, getting into some Masters of the Universe news. I did make a video yesterday talking about how there are 10 figures that are vintage figures cheaper than the modern Origins figures, and I went through those. But today and going forward, they're reissuing Wave 3, which was Roboto and I think Merman and She-Ra and one other. And so with that, those figures are going to probably drop in price, so make it a little bit easier. Anyway, if you want to check that out, see what else is going on with Vintage versus Origins, check that out. Okay, so there are two more Shogun Warriors that are He-Man Shogun Warriors, and they're going to be $300 each, almost 2 feet tall, and it's going to include a faker. There's going to be a faker for $300, and there's going to be a He-Man for $300. These are made to be mech style, mech type, and they match that old 70s kind of look that we had going on with these Shogun Warriors. So if you're into this kind of thing, then you might want to get onto it. Mattel Creations, they are still up for pre-order right now. Limit 2 per customer, and ships April 21st of 2023. So we did get a picture of Masters of the Universe Origins Hypno, and so I don't know much about this other than it's the rulers of the sun. It's going to be like the Sun Man figure, and it does look like he's got a little device to hypnotize you. But it's really cool. He comes with this little flying wolf hawk kind of thing right there. And so, cool looking figure. I just kind of like this weird off the wall stuff in a way. But I don't know how many. I would like to know exactly how many they're going to make so I can say, okay, they're going to make 10 of them. And okay, once we get all 10, that's great. But I don't know. Are they going to make 10, 12? Are there 20 of them? I don't even know. But that little hawk looking thing, if you have an LJ and Hawkler and you're missing your Hawkler, paint that thing brown. Call it your Hawkler's Hawk. Getting into some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle stuff. Now, I don't usually talk about the Super 7 stuff for two reasons. I don't know much about what's going on with the Super 7 Ultimates when it comes to the Turtles, and because I've collected too much other Turtle stuff, I don't want to start another Turtle collection. But some of the stuff is tempting. So what we are getting is Slammin' Dunk Dawn. We're getting the Zack the Neutrino, which looks really cool. We're getting Splinter Flocked, a flocked Splinter. That's cool. We're getting Scumbag. Scumbag's going to be $65. So far, the rest of those were $55. Scumbag's going to be $65. And then Wingnut and Screw Loose is going to be $75. Now, we've gotten the Scumbag, the Wingnut, and Screw Loose. Not a flocked Splinter, though. We've gotten some of these already, and Neutrinos with NECA. But these look so different, and they are really cool. So, I mean, this is some cool looking stuff overall. I'm tempted with the Neutrino, and I'm tempted with a flocked Splinter, but who knows? So Ramen Toy is coming out with some sewer stands, and they're pretty cool. So as you've kind of heard, there's going to be like a NECA display for Turtles, but this is sort of an unofficial Turtle display stand. Now, the reason it's unofficial, it could just be any sewer for any toy line, and it could be any brick wall for any toy line, but it does look pretty cool. And you can stand them next to it. You could line these up next to each other, and then you could put your figures in display like that. There's a lot of different ways to do it. So pretty cool overall, and I think it's going to be a relatively affordable price. I mean, the other ones they were doing were like $11 each, so I'm thinking if you get 6 of these for like $70, if the price isn't up yet. They haven't priced these because there's a little bit more to them, and there's a little more going on than what we got with the Masters of the Universe stuff. But the Masters of the Universe stuff was around 11, so I'm curious what this price point is. But they do look fantastic. Looks like a great way to display your Turtles. Since we're on Ramen, before we finish Turtles, I'm just going to touch on some other Ramen stuff going on. The Traumatizer or Land Drone that they're making, this is a prototype, unpainted. I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of paint apps done to it and stuff, and really some metallic looking paint that I'm going to like that's going on with it. But this is just kind of really rough. This is how it's at right now. And boy, I'd like to get my hands on one of these because they just look so cool. I think I pre-ordered 3 of these, so 3 or 4. Here it is with everything kind of together on it and looking pretty good. Lots of articulation that we didn't get with the original one, so I'm pretty sure they've at least tripled the points of articulation that we got with the original. And of course, the way the cannon works and all that kind of stuff, it's a whole lot better. Here it is broken down into separate parts, and that looks pretty cool. I like it. I like the way it looks. Overall, it looks pretty awesome. And I do like that it doesn't look exactly like a vintage Kenner one. It's its own thing, and it looks a whole lot different, more modernized, all that kind of stuff. And here's the size. Now, I was hoping it would be a little taller than this, but it fits the scale that they're going with. So, with all of that, it's about as tall as... is this an Action Force figure, I think? I think this is Action Force Valaverse. here's the box for their antagonist cyborg or hacker-looking figure, and so they are making it look retro, and it's got the retro packaging, and I'm really excited about that. I think that is so cool. I love that they're doing that. I love that the package is going to look retro, vintage, and shaped like it. It's just going to give you that feels, those nostalgia feels. So awesome. And this packaging art is amazing. There's 2 more Stranger Things figures coming out, and so that's what it looks like. Somehow we got a Donatello with a red bandana and a Raphael. No, a Michelangelo? Who are these guys? Who are these guys? Anyway, it's the Upside Down, right? And then, of course, we got these other 2 characters from Stranger Things in there. Looking pretty decent, looking pretty good. I actually think Playmates is doing a whole lot better job with the figures that aren't turtles these days. That's kind of strange, isn't it? Quick little update for Dungeons and Dragons. So the movie is going to release on March 31st, and then Scream 6 on March 10th. So not sure why things got changed around and all that, but for me, it doesn't matter. I go watch it the Tuesday after when it's only like $6 for a ticket and a matinee, so I don't really care to watch it on the first day. There's my little tip to save a few bucks. If your theater does like Tuesday special, that's when you go. That's when you go to the movies. But anyway, I look forward to going to the movie. I'm gonna go in with an open mind, hopefully enjoy it. I'm excited for it. I look forward to it. We'll see what it has to offer. So I guess we're into Star Wars talk now, and there was a find, and there's going to be an auction for 400 vintage action figures, most of them around 1980, so not 12 backs, I don't think. I think these are like 20 backs, and anyway, this is one of the biggest vintage carded pristine collections ever. They're not selling them separately. They're selling them as one big whole unit, and that Junkman did a video about it. Now I saw these pictures, I captured them on my phone, and then, because I was going to transfer it over, it was time for news. I don't have all the information on it, but it does look pretty cool, pretty interesting. It's just one of those things, like a historical find that you see going on, and it's exciting. It really is exciting when something like this occurs in the community, and we can find vintage stuff like this, and these things. I mean, this is going to be a fortune, but be prepared to spend like 30-something thousand if you plan on buying this, and that's just the way it is. And then I guess whoever buys it is probably going to end up reselling the vast majority of it, if not all of it. All right, so the Andor show is continuing on. It was another episode, and I'm going to be honest with you. My personal view of the Andor show were the first 3 episodes were very boring. They were laying the groundwork for bigger things to happen, and it was just kind of dragging, and then the end of episode 3 got exciting. And then it started getting perpetually better and more exciting from there. But the last episode I just watched with my wife, we both agreed it was very good. And so I think it's like perpetually getting better as it goes on. But guess what? The ratings are sinking. They are tanking as it goes on, sadly. But obviously it's going to finish. It's finished made. They're going to get all the episodes out to us, and we can enjoy it. But I actually won't buy one figure from the whole series. Oddly enough, Star Wars has gotten to the point that my main Star Wars sites don't even talk about some of this stuff until like many, many days after it occurs. So we're going to go in deep on some of this. The vintage collection stuff. So the skiff cards are getting reissued. They're reissuing Yak Face. Reissuing skiff cards, Yak Face, this kind of stuff. They're also putting out the Biker Scout with a speeder bike, and I don't know if it's the same one from the Toys R Us one or what's all going on with that. I didn't watch the Star Wars panel, so I just trusted my news sites to just give me the news because I can't sit through too many panels. I'll fall asleep. I don't know. But let's look at some of the Black Series releases. So Dr. Aphra is going to be in one of these book style ones. I think she's like $28. And the thing is that the first iteration of her is like a $100 figure. So obviously this is going to sell well. People are going to want this just because the first one's worth so much. But, it's one of those things that I know the first one's worth a lot. So you assume this one's going to be worth a lot down the road. But I still don't care. Frankly. It's good for those people that missed the first one, though. And Hasbro, oddly enough, they're not wanting to do reissues so much anymore. They're just wanting to make the same exact figure slightly different again. Which I guess is a good thing, in a way. And a bad thing in another. But This one here, this one is, does that say Bastilla Sean? So I don't really know who she is. Expanded universe figure, pretty cool. So got some female characters in there, interesting stuff. Gaming Greats figure, and I don't know who she is. And so with that, I won't be picking her up or buying her, but I'm glad that people that really want her can get her. She does look like a good figure, and one thing I want to say is I think Hasbro does make excellent figures. And I'm glad they're making excellent figures. I hope their Indiana Jones are great, and their Dungeons and Dragons are great. Here's Darth Malix, and I see this kind of stuff, and I'm thinking, where's Darth Malgus? Because you want that in Black Series. I mean, there's really a much broader conversation that I need to have about Black Series, because I figured it out. I figured out what I don't like about it, and actually Bobby Skullface made some really good points about it too. I thought that was pretty interesting insight. But I think I figured out what's wrong with Star Wars overall. But this figure does look pretty cool, and I'd like to see a Malgus maybe come down the road. That this doesn't share anything with Malgus though, but it just got my juices flowing and thinking that would be a cool figure. Here's Mara Jade, however you want to say it. Now I do have the '90s one from back in the day, and the '90s one you had to jump through serious hoops to get. In my own town, it never showed up, and I'm probably not in my whole state. So I had to get them from out of town. I actually ordered them off eBay for like $2 more than retail. I think that's how I got them. But there were none in my town. They never showed up. So it was one of those things. And back in the day, in the 90s, that was unheard of, actually. You usually get like 50 cases of the same thing. But now she's in Black Series, and she looks pretty good. Trying to read this. Vil Sartha, is that her name? I have no idea who she is. Is she an Andor character? I just don't know. And of course, she's not gonna be on my Christmas list, but she looks like a lady with a jacket. I guess she is from Andor, I'm guessing, but she looks okay. She looks pretty good. I remember the character from Andor that I think it is, and like the captain of the squad, and that's what she looks like to me. But I don't want to be wrong on it, so I'm just saying I don't know. So now we're getting Paz Vizsla in Vintage Collection, and does it look like a good figure? Yeah, it looks pretty much like you'd see Paz Vizsla. Heavy Mandalorian is what they've called in the past, and that kind of stuff. So I just want to tell you though, joke's on you, Jack, you'll never get to see your figure. No, that's not funny. So weird thing is that with Boba Fett, they put him out like this, and then they put him out with a blistered card back down the road at Target. I don't get it. And I passed on the one that was closed, but I bought the one in the blister. So I'm speaking with my wallet. And if they put a closed box out, I'm just not going to buy it. And if they put it on a blister, I might buy it. And that's where I'm at with this. And of course, Holiday Troopers, that kind of stuff going on still. So if you're interested in that, get after your Holiday Troopers and that kind of stuff. But anyway, that's it for Star Wars. So what do you think about this week's weekly news and review? What else is going on out there that I missed? What did you get from this that you enjoyed? I'm curious because there's so much going on, so many moving parts, and I try to bring it all to you. Let me know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. Try to hear him hang her out.